Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Advanced Bass Fishing, and really appreciate you guys checking out today's video and spending some time with me. And guys, we have a little bit of a different video today. We're sort of going to take a little break from fishing techniques, and I want to talk a little bit about the whole conversation about fishing for bedding fish, because at the time of filming this video, it's the first week of April. We are in smack dab in the middle, or getting ready to be in the smack dab in the middle of bedding and spawning season for bass around most of the country. So I sort of want to have a little conversation about this in general, sort of give you my thoughts and viewpoints on it in today's episode. Also, guys, big thank you out there to everybody that's been taking time to hit that subscribe button here at Advanced Bass Fishing. Much appreciated. I'd like to invite you guys to do so if you haven't. And also, thank you very much for everybody that's been using all my links that I put in the description, especially everybody that's taken time just to use and bookmark my tackle warehouse link anytime you're buying fishing tackle. If you're one of the viewers that are doing that, big thank you from me and my family, because it's much appreciated around here. Okay, let's get into the whole conversation. I want to try to have this, I just want to give you my opinion on it as far as, because it's it shouldn't be a controversial topic, but for some reason it's a little bit of a controversial topic. And I want to sort of give you my theory on it, on the whole thing. First of all, I want to preface it by saying, and then I want to get into some details around that, is in my opinion, I don't think that we should be fishing for visible bedding fish in tournament fishing, recreational fishing, or anything. I just think from a conservation standpoint that it's to the best interest of everybody, the future fishing, the sustainability of our fisheries, that we let the bass spawn unmolested. Just let them do their thing. They're not there doing it very long. I mean, they're in and out of there pretty quick. Just let them have it. Let them have a successful spawn, because that benefits everybody. And one of the things that I don't understand is how like the game and fish departments and the tournament organizations have not adopted this through their own self-discipline. I don't really understand why tournament organizations have and continue to not care if they put the tournaments right on top of the spawn or not. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Now, one of the big arguments that I get every time I talk about this, because I talk about it quite a bit, people say, "Oh, Randy, you're a hypocrite. You fish for bedding fish for years because you fish tournaments, all that." The only reason that I'm fishing during the bedding season is I don't have any choice. It's like I can't set the schedule, and I have to fish where the tournaments are at. So I don't like it, but I've got to do it unless I don't want to fish the tournaments. That'd be like saying, your boss says something like, "Well, you need to wear a certain, shirt to come into work," and you either wear that shirt or you don't work there anymore. It's sort of that same type of a deal. So the tournament organizations and the conservation departments have created this problem, for themselves. Now, let's talk a little bit about how everybody should handle this. I'm not here to tell you what you should and shouldn't do. Everybody has the right to form their own opinion on it. But in my case, this is sort of what I do. It's like, I do not target spawning bass when I'm fishing when the fish are spawning. I try to figure out something else going on. So not all the bass spawn in the lake at the same time. It's like if you've got, say at any given time, under perfect scenario, under perfect conditions, you will have about 50% of the bass actively spawning, say during the same time during 1 week. Now, there's going to be some that spawn before that. There are going to be some that spawn after that, sort of scattered out based upon a lot of different factors. But there is a key window where the majority of the bass spawn. And usually this takes place when that water temperature first hits 60 degrees in the springtime of the year, in correlation with some type of a full moon. So anytime that full moon's on its way, or the full moon's there, and you do have stable conditions where the water level's not up and down, and you've got water temperatures around 60 degrees, there's going to be half the bass in the lake spawning at that time. So given that, I always try to target either pre-spawn or post-spawn bass. So say, for example, if it's the second week of April and I can see bass on beds, in the areas that I'm fishing, I usually back out and fish a little bit deeper, or I go up into up the river in a little bit more stained water, trying to get away from those actively spawning fish. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't do it. If I'm in a tournament and I'm going down the bank fishing, flipping docks or whatever, and I see a 4-pounder sitting on a bed in a tournament, I'll probably try to catch it. Well, I will try to catch it. I feel good about that? No, I don't feel good about that. But that's sort of like, that's the dilemma that a lot of us that are against fishing during the bedding season, have to go through. So I think that, there's sort of like a difference between recreational anglers and tournament anglers. Tournament anglers are eventually going to release those bass. Now, once they're released, whether they have successful spawns, once they're released, nobody really knows. But there's a lot of guys out there too, and I've met them and I've talked to them, that they purposely fish for bass during the spawning season because they're easy to catch, and they eat them. They keep them and eat them. So I can't really wrap my mind around how somebody would want to eat a fish that's full of eggs, getting ready to lay those eggs. It's going to help the fishery. But again, everybody has their own opinion on what they do and not want to do. So that's sort of, I don't really understand why this hasn't been addressed more, because it is a conservation issue. And I think that most anglers are conservation minded. It's like it's because who wants to undermine the very sport that they love by doing something that's going to harm it? And guys, I can assure you right now, fishing during the bedding season, when you have a lot of pressure on bedding fish, it harms the fishery. It's a logical assumption to say that it does, because it would be like allowing deer hunting, when, the does are having their babies or something, somebody goes out and kills a doe and their babies are out there to fend for themselves. It's sort of the same thing with, bass. So we sort of like got into this weird state where they don't think that it applies to fish like it does other type of animals. So let's talk a little bit about what can be done with that. How could we fix this? Now, there needs to be some type of a paradigm shift into a conservation mind a little bit. It's not going to hurt anybody for the conservation departments to say, look, during this period, say for example, based upon where you're at, because the key spawning season varies depending where you're at geographically. But for example, here in Missouri where I live, most of the bass spawn, between the second week of April and the end of April. So from my standpoint, I don't understand like why the Missouri Department of Conservation can't just say you cannot keep bass. You can't keep black bass during the month of April, catch and release only. Do you know how many bass that would save? That would save a tremendous amount of fish. But on top of that, you have to have the tournament organizations stop having those tournaments during the month of April, like here in Missouri. It's like there's 12 months out of the year to have a tournament. It's like they don't have to have a tournament in the month of April. They can have it in March during the pre-spawn, or they can have it in the post-spawn during May. There's no big deal. So you're only talking about 4 weekends, that out of 52 weeks of the year where you can't have a tournament. So if we had a joint venture of the conservation departments not allowing bass to be kept during the month of April, and tournament organizations refusing to hold tournaments during the month of April, there would be thousands and thousands of bass saved. There would be millions of bass eggs saved for sure that are not eaten by predation because their parents are not there to take care of them. And it depends on where you're fishing. Like I said, if you live up north, it could be May and June with that period. If you're down south, it could be anywhere between January to early March. But I just want to throw that out there a little bit. I just like to encourage everybody. I mean, if you love to bass fish, just to let them do it, man. It's all, what's just as fun? It's just as fun to watch them. I love to watch bass spawning. It's like one of my favorite things to do is to find, like, it's clear water and there's no wind whatsoever, and just sit back and watch the bass do their thing. I love to watch how they move and how they swim. To me, that is so rewarding, and not jacking with them is very satisfying, because it is fun. I mean, it is fun to catch a fish off a bed, because you see them eat your bait, you set the hook, and you see the fish turn on your hook set. It's something we don't see. There's something that's very visually exciting about it, but it's not a good thing. It's not anything that's positive for the fishery. So I just want to encourage everybody to maybe become a little bit more aware of that. And I think that if everybody did, it would definitely result in some better fishing down the road. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. We'll talk later.